Well, very good. Welcome back. It's now time for us to get into the political scene. It's now 4 minutes past 7 a.m. Karibu sana. My name is Victor Olo, and thank you, Trevor, for the news update. Okay, so before I get into the discussion, of course, kama kawaida, is about the front pages of the local dailies. I'll take you through the front page very fast, because even my guest will also help me take the other papers. Okay, let me take the Daily Nation. The Daily Nation is more of about what we're just about to discuss today. There is this question about the clear winner. That is opinion poll. That's basically our topic of discussion today. The question is no clear winner, no clear winner. And the Daily Nation says that there would be no outright winner if a presidential election were held today. A runoff vote is likely, a new opinion poll shows. And the Daily Nation also reports that none of the potential presidential candidates, including President Ruto, would garner more than half of all the votes. And a disjointed opposition would also trail Ruto, but a united force poses a serious challenge to his 2027 re-election bid. And finally, no opposition leader has a commanding lead over colleagues, but Kalonzo is a favorite, as is his joint ticket with Senator Sifuna. So that is on the front page of the Daily Nation. Of course, this was done by Infotrack. Something to talk about is the Olkalau seat campaigns end as court suspend MP's 1.5 million shillings fine. So the campaigns officially ended yesterday ahead of the polls to be conducted on Thursday. That is on the front page of the Daily Nation. Daniel Orogo, good morning.
Good morning.
Daniel Orogo is political analyst and governance expert. He's also MP aspirant, Kibra constituency in 2027. You can take a look at what's on the Daily Nation, the front page.
Yeah, but I have a standard.
Oh, the standard. There you go. Oh, sorry. All right. The standard, what did I say?
I think it's highlighting on the irony that they send the finance officers to tame Haiti's gangs. Yet it's back at home. We are experiencing a spat in the wave of Goonism, the rise of illegal groups that is raiding havoc in the political cycle. I think that is their and the focus is on the office of the president.
Word by word, what does this say?
They send the finest officers to tame Haiti's gangs, yet back at home, murderers are rising. Civilians' lives are in fear, and the president's own security has become a subject of ridicule. Meanwhile, the Interior CS, Kipchumba Murkomen, plays politics. PS Dr. Edmund Omolo's name surfaces whenever goons are discussed, and the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Douglas Kanja, presides over confusion. This is no longer a ministry Kenyans can trust to keep them safe. Instead, it has become a symbol of incompetence and national embarrassment, where politicians' ambition is better protected than the lives and the property of Kenyans. Page 4.
Very good. And of course,
Kumbe, I can read the news.
Kumbe,
I mean, I can anchor.
And but my job is not at stake. And that of Trevor and the rest of us. Okay, but you've out of 10, I will give you a 3. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
You can work hard.
All right.
Okay. Amolo Simba, advocate of the High Court. You can give us on the front page of the Star.
Okay, for the Star, this is it's about coffee revamp lifts 700k farmers' lives. Yeah, so talking about the revolving fund that's enabled timely payment of berry deliveries. I see also a part of the news that is covered by the Star, the political one, which is on page 6. That's Sifuna Natembea shake-up. Yeah, Sifuna Natembea shake-up Ruto's Western game plan. So,
Okay, very well. So let's just come back to the front page of the Daily Nation. Based on what we have seen, and the Infotrack continues to give us more details, the State House race, as illustrated by the Daily Nation, again, this was a finding by Infotrack. This is what it says, that if elections were to be held today, President William Ruto would garner 32, which means there's no clear winner. 50 plus 1, nobody would get. Kalonzo, 13%, Sifuna, 12%, Matiang'i 12%, Rigathi Gachagua 4%, Babu Owino 3%, David Maraga, Emeritus CJ, that is 2%, and finally Martha Karua 1%. I will take you on this other side of the opposition, but let's start with this. Daniel.
Yeah.
No clear winner.
Absolutely. And too early to even tell. Every time, I think, for the better part we have been on this set, Victor, we have belated and said that even, it's not only right now, but even as we head to election, there will be a need to search for a ticket that will deliver a one clear winner, which is an uphill task for each and every candidate. I think we've been saying that weeks and weeks over in this
Including
set.
the incumbent?
Yeah, and including incumbent. No one is guaranteed, a 50 plus 1% like in one round of elections as we proceed. And you can see quite interesting opinion polls. Let us also say that opinion polls remains opinion polls, and that they just do a representative, polling, random something. There are major ways of polling. So they are also prone to errors, and we cannot say that this is an absolute or a bit 100% reflective of the opinions or of the voters as we. But however, they give a snippet of what the Kenyan voters' opinions are. So we give credit to the polls as a pointer to wherever the country is headed to. So as you can see on the pages on the Daily Nation is. I think President Ruto, it's at 32%.
Yes.
Followed by Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka at 12%. And Dr. Fred Matiang'i is equally sharing, the share with Senator Edwin Sifuna. Interesting. I see my presidential candidate at 2%.
Who is that?
Honorable David Maraga, the CJ.
Okay. Right.
Thank God that finally I can.
What would 2% represent for the 50 million Kenyans? Give or take that all of them, 15 million voters.
I mean, that is how many millions? Probably anyone that can help us.
Yeah.
But I think it is a significant leap. Maybe hundreds of thousands headed to a million or so. Someone can calculate and tell us. But let me say about these opinion polls. Number one is, if I am cheeky enough to add the numbers of those in opposition, they can probably near or topple that of the incumbent, if you can add it. Interestingly, I think that is one thing that I've observed. So hence the need to call for a united ticket. My observation as a politician and as a commentator.
Yes.
And number two, it's quite interesting also to look at the flag bearers of the opposition. You can see that Kalonzo, as much as he's also the key leading presidential candidate of the opposition, he's also a preferred presidential flag bearer
for the opposition.
For the opposition.
I'll come back to that.
Yeah, you can. So I think those are quite interesting, opinions of Kenyans so far.
All right.
So good.
Amolo, this was the first time. Actually, there was another opinion poll, but it seems there is a little bit of an improvement in the part of all the contestants and the aspirants. But what do you take of this? I mean, we've been here before and we've seen how opinion polls would be, but they say that at ground, vitu were different completely.
I think that for the opinion polls, these ones, they confirm what we already know. The thing is, for the opposition side, taking on William Ruto, it would require them to come together as a team. Without them coming together as a team, each of them going on their own, they would they stand no chance of beating Ruto.
But before we get to that, the headache of getting the 50+1. Let's start with that.
Okay, so the 50+1, as it stands, if everybody's going on their ways, it will be difficult to get 50+1%, because that division, I think that as it stands today, no candidate would say that they are guaranteed of 50+1%, so 50% plus 1. So which would be an headache, because even for William Ruto, it would not sit easy today, knowing that still, even as it stands, with or without those opinion polls, it would be an uphill task for him to get 50% plus 1. So I think that there is, for whichever candidate, there's still more work to be done. Of course, it's still early, but the signs are there that for it to be like a real contest, like where we talk about possibility of a clear winner, there needs to be, if the opposition side, there needs to be that unity.
Okay.
Otherwise, you know, history repeats itself. We may have this situation like what happened in 1992, where you had opposition jointly were stronger than President Moi, but because they were fragmented, we had all these many candidates. President Moi sailed through. Also in 1997, but then of course the dynamics have changed because right now the constitution, at that time President Moi sailed with a small majority. Right now the constitution requires that you have to get at least 50% of the votes plus one, and that becomes the challenge. But still as it is, I think that President Ruto has some advantage if the opposition remains united. But if they come in together, then they'll give him a run for his money.
You know, the question is, look at Kalonzo Musyoka. Kalonzo Musyoka is not a new boy in the game, okay? Figuratively. Sifuna is, Matiang'i is, okay? Sifuna has 12%, Matiang'i has 12%, Kalonzo has 13%. Take the three. Okay, let me take the three. The performance of Kalonzo himself done, he's a big boy in the game. And 13. Then Sifuna gets into the game a few months ago and right behind him. What do you make of that?
I see. You know, it's actually reflexive of the ever-changing the political terrain in Kenya. 5 months ago, we couldn't have heard that Sifuna could be getting, you know, major headlines. But right now is basically a force to reckon with.
Actually, according to the poll, he's number 3.
He is number 3. And remember that he has come into this political, you know, scene soon after Raila's demise and exit. Observe that fact, that Sifuna's rise was based on his ascending and articulating Raila's position, occupying the space and speaking, articulating the voice that, you know, you always have a t-shirt saying, Nani, who told you? Like you see, filling into the gap of what he thinks that Raila could have said at this particular moment. So that is a reflective of an indictment to ODM because the Linda Mwananchi faction of ODM is the face of Sifuna. And you can actually see that there is a significant number of voters in ODM who still believes that their former Secretary General actually speaks what Raila could have been speaking about. So hence, he's ascending into the position.
Do you think ODM is having a second thought about Sifuna with the 12%?
Of course.
There is no stability in the Orange Party.
Of course.
We all know that.
Of course, that's what I'm saying. If Oburu faction says that they will not field the presidential candidate, what about the disgruntled young men, especially young people in the ODM, who feels that if Raila was present, probably he could have put his name on the ticket?
True.
So to them, Sifuna's face is probably articulating the Raila's position in shadows. And that's why you probably see him on the ballot. You probably see him arising and ascending this position. And I'm telling you the truth. If Raila Odinga could have been there, I don't think Sifuna could have been, you know, because then what you could have been saying is his loyalty to his boss. He's been saying that he know what Mzee could have been saying. So for him, his bravado and his rise into this position is a reflective, is a significant reflective of his, you know, support from the ODM functions that feels that we could have had Baba in the ticket. That is where you see Sifuna. All right? So the other thing that coming out of these polls, interestingly, as I was reading them in details, is that Dr. Fred Matiang'i has got a significant following from the central region. Right? If you read through, you know, the InfoTrack details. So I am looking at the Honorable Rigathi at what percent? At 4%. Victor, at 4%. From central Kenya with DCP, Dr. Fred Matiang'i with the Jubilee Party has got a significant following in central Kenya. So that is something that should reflect. That is something that should show us, you know, something that is happening. Number 2, the Honorable William Ruto has got a significant following in Northeastern, more than he has in the Rift. What does that tell you with the new issuances of identification to the people of Northeastern who have been feeling aggrieved with the historical injustices in that area. And remember, the last public holiday significant was held where? In Northeastern Kenya.
Right.
So I think they are very interesting. And Honorable William Ruto has got a number of significant following drifting from Nyanza. And in central Kenya, he has now the lowest, popularity.
Yeah.
So look at how the political, terrain is shifting. And like I've told you, my presidential candidate who was not featuring in the polls, right now we are talking about the Honorable CJ, who is now having a significant belief among his Kenyans that he also can be the presidential candidate. So I'm telling you, within these 6 months that is coming, there's going to be a lot of shifting.
Very good.
And a lot of coalition building and gerrymandering and political horse trading in between.
I normally call them,
Yes.
I normally call that, boys are going to have a lot of tea.
Yes.
All right, and night meetings. I'm looking at this. There's a very difference between science and politics. And we all know how these things can, there's a very thin line between the opinion polls and the real thing core ground. So you give clear figures and facts as per the science and polling, but then now core ground, Dan is running for a seat in Kibra. He will tell you that core ground vitu kwanga very different. But this is just a representation. The percentage and the opinion polls is that. Let's start with Kalonzo Musyoka and Sifuna, the two gentlemen. All of them have been a part of Baba. These are clear students of Baba in politics. In fact, the top three, President William Ruto, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Sifuna, they've been close to Baba.
Yeah.
And they're trailing 1, 2, 3.
I think that, well, if you look at it from the opposition side, I think Kalonzo has an advantage. Look at it logic. I think that, factually, even away from the polls, he would have an advantage in terms of leading.
From the opposition
side being a leading candidate.
Actually, yes, 27
yes,
from the opposition, and Matiang'i is 26.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that, okay, for Sifuna, Sifuna is also a very vibrant politician, charismatic, and I think that he appeals a lot to the youth, a lot also to Baba supporters who El Baba's beliefs. That said, and I agree with you that core ground sometimes are vitally different. The thing is, for politics, as so far that we've seen in this country, people do go along tribal lines. And I think that while for giving Gachagua, is it 4%? Like, maybe from when you are, depending on whom you poll, but I think that for someone like Gachagua, he has a lot of numbers. Like, for example, if he were to go all the way to the ballot, my prediction is that he would get Mount Kenya almost to a man. Because at the end of the day, unless things change in 2027, our politics is always largely tribal. Yeah. That's why sometimes if you look at when Mutai Ngugi was talking about tyranny of numbers in the 2012, 2013 election, sometimes even before the election, just by looking at the tribal, like the coalition, somebody is able to even count their votes like this, predict what this person is going to get. From that point, I think that it will depend, like, for example, for the opposition. I think for the government side, President Ruto is already clear with the presidential candidate. For the opposition side, there will be need for that bringing in together, like the coalition building. Somebody like Sifuna, having him on your team is a good thing because he brings the energy. Like if you have Sifuna, Babu Wino, and the likes, they bring a lot of energy and excitement, because at the end of the day, you get that a campaign is not like a church affair. No. Yeah. So you need to have the excitement. You need to have the vibrancy. Yeah, it's not just all about being good. So I think that Sifuna is performing well. Having him in your team, whatever side that he'll be able to bring a lot to that, both in terms of the largely in terms of exciting the support base. Okay. Yeah.
There is a question I will ask you. In an unlikely situation, hold that question. I will ask you. But then, look at, if you take the three, that is Sifuna, based on the opinion polls done, we take Kalonzo Musyoka, Sifuna, and Matiang'i. It comes to 37%. The three combined right now, 37. President William Ruto has 32. still there is no force to the 50+1 mark.
No, no, and that's what I said. Until this is one of the elections that I predict there could be a runoff, and I think the papers are. These have been saying for a long time. I think the papers have vindicated me today. We might have an election runoff, general election, and every candidate is avoiding that.
Yes.
This is one thing that every presidential election candidate must avoid at all cost, because a runoff is costly, first of all. Secondly, it is unpredictable, because after the elections, coalitions has to be formed. I mean, Victor, you have seen how, established democracies in Europe, like the UK, South Africa, how they try to get, coalesce within allied coalition members so that they could form a government of majority. You see how hard that is always to them. The British Prime Minister, of course, their election is more of representative. They have, after the election, they have to form a majority in the House. You saw what happened with the ANC and the DA in South Africa. After the election, they have to get, at all cost and at all means to at least get a small percentage.
Yeah.
So it has never happened in this country, but when it happens, it could be very interesting and it could be very costly to these presidential candidates.
What happens? Yes.
Get a coalition member who was not preferably, your friend before.
What happens?
To get to understand.
What happens if the first round, no winner, runoff, no winner? What happens? Wakili.
Okay. First, once you see, like in a presidential, if around the first round, there's no clear winner. Like let's say you have 8 candidates.
Then we have the top 2.
The top 2. So with the top 2, you see, 8 of them will have to get above there. Like that one, there's a runoff.
Majority.
Yeah, any of them will get the majority because it's only 2 people. Now, any of them will beat the other. Automatically becomes now the leader, because whichever way, if you look at it, when you are 2 people, one person is going to, for you to win, because one person has to be over 50 and the other one below 50.
Who would be happy in this situation for a runoff?
Yeah? But I think that since we have the new constitution, we've not had a situation of a runoff, and I would predict, I would put my money that there will be no runoff in 2027. The reason is that if you look at our politics, at the end of the day, it's not, like right now, we have so many potential candidates, but then at toward the election, it will narrow down to a 2-horse race.
Yes.
And people will align with either house. It will be aligned 2-horse race, then people will align with either, and then the third party will trail, will probably get less than 7%. And so I do not see a situation whereby all these candidates getting to the ballot. So at the same time, even when they do get, let's say some go even to the ballot. We've had, even I think in, even previously we've had sometimes whereby candidates having a number of candidates, but at the end of the day you get that others trailing, they get less than few hundreds thousands of votes, some even less than 100,000. So I don't foresee it going. And then even right now, as it is for the opposition, like you could give it to, like you are giving that issue of where Matiang'i and Kalonzo and Sifuna being together.
Yes.
In the opposition, even if those 3 were to come together, as I've told you, politics also goes, also the issue of tribal politics. Without, let's say, somebody like Gachagua,
yes,
the opposition would be limping.
Who would be at risk? Dan, before you respond to that, you can also tie the two. So we have a runoff.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just expand the debate a little bit. We have a runoff and top 2 candidates. Of course, number 1, who will be leading, let's say 38%, or 41%, whatever it is, and number 2, another percent somewhere thereabout. So now what happens in this situation? Who has a lot of work to do, heavy lifting, in the second round?
Well,
number 2 or number 1?
I think,
because
it is for me. My thought would be that both the candidates must work out to get the simple
Not number one
majority.
having a lot of work,
Who
having
knows?
exhausted all the avenues.
I mean, runoffs are politically extreme moments where opinions are taken to the extremes. And I agree that sometimes one of the things that we always disputing is the fact that the current upcoming elections, we might not have these traditional thoughts of saying that you either been this camp or not. I don't think so. I don't think opinion polls are equally pointing that as we move towards 2027, there is a majority that are not yet decided. And majority that are not yet decided, some of these are probably young people who are going to the ballot for the first time and still wondering who is the preferred presidential candidate.
There's a lot of work.
So there is a lot of work to do. That's why I'm telling you that we cannot sit pretty and say, you know, as we are used to this politics, we'll get a two-horse race. It might not be. It might not be. We still have work. So that's why I'm disputing this fact and answering your question that whether it is number one or number two, when it comes to a runoff, it's a matter to them now. It's a matter of winning and doing. So opinions might be pulled to the extreme that even number one might think he might have a simple work to do. Yet number two might form a simple majority that can knock out number one.
The simple thing right now here is we take a break.
All right.
That's very. All right, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. Amolo Simba, an advocate of the High Court and political analyst, as well as Daniel Orogo, who is political analyst and governance expert. He's also aspiring to be a member of Parliament, Kibra constituency. Gentlemen, thank you for staying with us. I have to say that I've received an apology from Mheshimiwa Bernard Kitu, member of Parliament. That is Nandi Hills. He said that he won't make it to the show. He has an urgent appointment. Basically, that's to Olkalau. So, yes, we are understand that he's always been here on the show. So, Mheshimiwa, duty calls. All right. The show continues nevertheless. So now, Dan, I ask a question. The second round, he's here. And you said there's no clear winner. But it is one of the most expensive affairs to go for a runoff. Amolo, the question I'll also put to you is who would be so happy to attempt for a second round?
Okay.
Number one or number two?
The thing is, for a runoff, it becomes a very tricky affair.
Yes.
If, for example, assuming the hypothetical situation that the elections went as it by the opinion polls, and then there is a runoff, maybe the opposition at that time, maybe it would be their time to say, okay, guys, we went separately, we didn't...
So now let's come together.
Now let's come together. In that case, they would, let's say, have an advantage. But then if you look at a time of runoff, it is a lot of horse trading because now each person comes and says that these are the people who are not going to the ballot, like because it remains to now, assuming it's Kalonzo and Ruto. Each of them will be trying to appeal to the other candidates. Like you say, Kalonzo is appealing to Sifuna, is trying to appeal to Matiang'i and the likes. While also, at the same time, also Ruto will be trying to behind the scenes, there will be a lot of horse trading. What is it that you have to give? So it's
and that is the time we see even some opposition leaders crossing to
the other side.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you can't say with certainty that this would have the advantage, because at the end of the day, it will happen. It will depend on what somebody has to offer. But let's assume that all those who vote in the opposition do not want President Ruto. That they're saying that anybody but Ruto. In that hypothetical scenario, then whoever is in the runoff from the opposition side definitely can be able to win all these other people because let's say all these other people are saying, okay, we voted for different candidates, but all we didn't want was President Ruto. But again, in Kenyan politics, we've seen that there's nothing that is impossible under the sun. During that time, there can be a lot of shifting. You'd be surprised maybe somebody who was a dire opposition shifting to the government side. We've seen unlikely alliances even with during the time of the late Prime Minister, where we had this handshake with Ruto. Nobody would have predicted that, or at the time that...
That was a post-election agreement.
Yes. So you see, at that time, during the runoff, it will be also more like a post-election agreement in the sense that you're looking at it at the time that people will be having the discussion. It will be like, I'll be telling you that, okay, Victor, Simba here, I'm likely to win. I just remain, I have 40%. I just need you to give me your 10%. Then I'm going to give you 30% of government. Like, yeah, that's what it will be. Yeah. And if I'm able to negotiate with you, at that time I'll be approaching you that if you give me your 10%, I give you 30% of government. At the same time, here, Dan will be promising you that he'll give you 40% of government. Yeah. So you'll be now the girl who's everybody's chasing, like, yeah.
So these are very clear. It is quite open that even all these opposition leaders, they have an agenda. Yeah. And the way you would say, Dan, you say you have an interest. Yeah. Is it safe to say that even these opposition leaders, some of them are working for a particular cause?
Yes.
That should they not get the votes that they want to be presidential candidates, then they're eyeing a particular candidate, either the incumbent who has like only 10%, the way you're saying, and we're good to go. 30% is yours, you're going to get these parastatal heads, you're going to get da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. One or two of them has an agenda.
Yeah. Did you hear that one of those sentiments from one of those on the polling said that they are sitting in a government of shares?
Yes.
You heard that?
Yes.
It is a clear indication that the conversing that goes around politics is a convergence of sharing and of interest. So, and this is what I keep on saying is, listen, the opinion polls have pointed out that majority of Kenyans who are supporting these presidential candidates, some of them are from their own background, politics, of ethnicity. It is about your ticket being a representative of the community's interest.
Yes.
Now, the opinion polls further says that Honorable Edwin Sifuna has got a growing following from Western Kenya. The Honorable, Kalonzo Musyoka is having a majority following from, the eastern part of this country. Save for Honorable William Ruto, of course, which have got, majority, a second majority following from the Rift and Nyanza, because the interests are at stake, and I agree with what Wakili is saying, that some of this conversation, and it's going to get heated, Victor. Should we have a point where there is no clear winner, few months to the election, the conversing is going to be very intensive. You know, the horse trading is going to be very, very intensive, to the point where you will see miracles. You're going to see smoke coming out from these political tea breaks that you're talking about. And surprises that is going to surprise so many Kenyans. And when we were seated last time in the conversation, we were asking ourselves, between the functions of united opposition, where the faces of established legacy politicians are there, and Linda Mwananchi, you remember that debate?
Yes, yes.
Who is probably likely to cross over when push comes to shove? All right?
I remember what you said.
And remember, Honorable William Ruto is an incumbent. And remember, his political mechanics have been before. That once we get into power, one of the things you have to do during pre-election is to fold your party.
Who is reading?
You understand?
Who is reading Baba's textbook here?
So you understand?
I don't know, but without pointing any finger, is there anybody who just went and picked the Baba's handbook?
I mean, ODM is ODM. Baba's handbook has been in that you cannot do a political horse trading. If Baba was there, and I agree with what Paul Mwangi said, if Baba was there and he was not vying, he would ask Sifuna to be in the opposition. He would ask Uburu to be in government. I can bet this 100%.
But maybe just to add something, you see, Kenyan politics is never based on principles, because all these people, like you look at them, they've been in a coalition with each other at some point. They've worked together at some point. So it is everybody who is vying here, they're not vying just for purposes of just making a point. You saw, let me just take you back to the last election, 2022. There's a time when there was Okoa, Kenya, there was which had Kalonzo, Wetangula, Mudavadi, and they were like becoming like a third force, yeah. And even there were argument that if they went, there was Raila, Ruto, and these people would be a third force. But then at the time when we saw, like toward the end of the election, and as that saying, towards the election time, people sit down and look at it. Do I have the numbers to win, or if I don't have them, like who do I negotiate with? At that time, you saw the Wetangula team, Wetangula and Mudavadi went to Ruto with that earthquake declaration. And you see at that time, President Ruto was desperate to get his numbers up, because it was now clear that him and Raila and the stakes were so high, very desperate to. So offered them, there was that thing where Gachagua always talk about shareholding, about 30% of government given to, there were Mudavadi and Wetangula. They crossed to that side. Kalonzo on this other side crossed to Raila's side. Yeah. So at the end of the day, at some point, reality is going to dawn on all these people, and they're going to look like, is it that I just want to be at the ballot for the sake of being in the ballot? Yeah. Or do I want to, a situation of using my numbers? Because if you already push at least, let's say by around December, somebody can see that, okay, this is what you can marshal. It becomes easier to negotiate at that time. Yes. And that's why some of these people are not in a hurry to negotiate today. They want to negotiate when they want to form some strong muscle.
I am seeing something on the screen as well, that something interesting about the popularity of the parties. Because if that can be, I saw that UDA is it popular? Is becoming a popular party, and the ODM is. It could be interesting also to look at that fact, because we have seen an upsurge of registration of political parties. That should also click something on our mind. Yeah. That the register of political parties have noted that as we head to the elections, so many, now we have over 90 political parties in Kenya. How many do you know? How many do you know? So what is this surge in the political parties registration? You know, with very funny symbols. You know,
what is the reason for negotiation?
It is definitely for negotiation what we are talking about.
But you can have a political party with no numbers.
No, but remember, political parties, some of these are for the optics. And remember when...
Yes.
Do you remember when folding of political parties and forming the Jubilee parties? What came out was that all those political parties, the 12 of them that were folded, were for the opinion that preferred presidential candidate was the one that fits the bill. So it doesn't matter. Politics, it doesn't matter. It is creating a perception that within our small political parties and our regions and our ethnicities, our belief is that we can fold our political parties and support this candidate. ANC folded, the House, and now is in UDA. Everyone now formed a UDA party, save for Wetangula's party and the rest of the political parties who have not folded their camps here to join, the United Democratic Alliance. But it could be interesting, Victor, again, to look at. I see it's popular at 22%. That is UDA, and ODM is now at 21%. Do we say that the decline of the ODM popularity is based on the two factions that are now pulling aside in the ODM?
Based on the political party, let me just put some points there. According to the survey, Dr. William Ruto also needs to gain significant additional backing to avoid a runoff, which is more unpredictable. It continues, ODM allied to party leader Raila Odinga has since declared support for President William Ruto's bid to another term. But going by the survey findings, the broad-based government must gain additional ground, possibly through new alliances to secure victory. So we have got UDA, we have got ODM, but they must have additional alliances.
Yes.
Where will these alliances come from? Which political party?
So,
because the opposition have also stuck on their guns and say, no, for us, we're here. So now that's where that is talking about horse trading and the highest bidder.
Yes.
And a lot of tea is going to be taken this time around.
You see, first, just to comment on the increase in political parties right now, the upside, maybe I can give some business advice for somebody who is an entrepreneur right now. Part of the thing is forming a political party would be a way, toward the election, it has always happened whereby there are people, you form a political party, have it as a briefcase, just sit at home.
Yes.
Then around the time of when people are scrambling for party tickets, party tickets, you camp somewhere around IBC headquarters, and anybody who does not have a ticket, you say 300,000 for MP, what? You can make some good money, some millions. I think there are people who have always done that.
Yeah.
Of course, now the option of somebody going independent if you're not picked by a party. Of course, the requirement for you to resign from political party before you go to independent. But there are always these small parties. They've always made a lot of money toward the election time where you, let's say, I buy ODM, and around the election time, I see ODM does not favor me. They prefer Dan as the candidate. I'll look for whatever political party. It could be TIP, where nobody knows of it, but at that time I'm desperate for a party. They tell me, okay, we give you the ticket, give us $1 million and all these things. So sometimes they've been there for business, some of these political parties, not that they are really serious on, like in terms of getting support. But then also when you're talking about the requirement for, like neither party, whether you're talking about the broad-based, they would need certain allowances for them to be able to, like toward the election time.
Yes.
Yes, there's going to be that upsurge in allowances, and I think even right now, I'm sure there are a lot of backroom negotiations whereby trying to who is whom. Some of these people who are in whatever side, they are still playing hard to get, because in politics also it's a matter of negotiation.
Yes.
If you go easily, you'll bargain, you'll be cheap, like you'll be bought at a penny.
Should this worry ODM?
Yeah.
Because ODM is a big party, and we've always seen in the past how ODM would marshal numbers, but even with, quote unquote, with the system, they're not able to garner 50+1 comfortably, ODM and UDA, as it is right now.
Okay, you see.
That is 22-21?
Yeah. I think that ODM, the truth of the matter is that ODM, as it is currently, is not the same as ODM before Baba left. Okay, because at the end of the day, I think that in Nyanza still it's going to get majority, like it has majority support. Of course, not 100% like as it was during Baba's time. Yes. There's going to be, in terms of division, because at the end of the day, even I suspect even some of the various, even those that are going to support William Ruto, let's say the courts, they may want to negotiate on their own, because if you look at it, there's the Oburu, Baba would, whatever time, even when he was going to a coalition, he had this compact following that he could, even if he was doing the negotiation, he would bring all that following on board. Right now with Baba going, I think that unifying force, I don't think that there's anybody within ODM who has that stature, even close to Baba. So yes, ODM will have some numbers in the negotiation, but I don't think they'll be able to negotiate as it was when Baba was. Because when Baba was alive, Baba could demand, let's say, if going to the election right now, would have told President Ruto, I want 50% of government.
Yes.
And
he would deliver.
Yes. So right now, they would negotiate from a weak point.
And I think I also add in that the breakaway functions of ODM has probably cheapened the bargaining power of the Orange Democratic Movement. And I agree with what Wakili Simba is saying, is that the unifying big figure, the big man that was holding ODM together, unfortunately, is not with us. And that there is no one that probably can fill his shoes in terms of marshalling the support of a united Orange Democratic Movement as a party. And I normally pity the Linda ground functions, because when it comes to political negotiation, Dr. William Ruto will ask ODM, what are you bringing on board? Because he will ask now that one of your breakaway functions of Linda Mwananchi
It's giving a run for your money.
giving a run for your money.
I can opt for that.
Yeah. What are you bringing on board? So
Wow.
with also their declining in popularity is a significant factor that the Orange Democratic Movement has to call it out in order and iron out, because that will be one of the discussion points in the negotiation now when people go to the table. Remember what we are talking about, that the president would at any point avoid a runoff. And for him, that would mean that any negotiation must be significant, must bring in significant numbers. Number two,
just a question
so that I don't lose my,
Okay,
my trail of thought.
Continue.
Number two is the complications within the demarcation during election. Parties within the alliances cannibalizing one another. Remember, this was one of the pitfalls that happened in the, the Raila Odinga's functions in 2022. We had so many political parties that were forming Azimio.
Yeah.
And remember, some of these aspirants and candidates were disgruntled, because when it came to the matters of demarcating within those areas, they were told, however much big and following you are, you have to step down.
Yes.
In Nairobi here, the Honorable Tim Wanyonyi was asked to step down for Honorable Igathe. Remember, that is also probably what is being cited.
Yes.
That gave Honorable Sakaja a free hand in Nairobi. So remember now, ODM has walked into with UDA. And don't forget that UDA has got a foray in Nyanza. Yeah, we have UDA very strongly organized in Nyanza region. And that is now where you see a lot of push back within the Wanga's functions and zoning and the rising of PS interior. That is Dr. Raymond Omolo, who was a stronghold in the UDA functions structure in the Nyanza region. So these are the things I'm telling you, that if ODM functions is not careful within the pro-coalition arrangement, then that is number three, Victor. That we
I also want to ask this question.
You can write. Your question is I would be very interested to know the rating of the growing of political parties, because I believe my party is a growing political party, and it has not been mentioned in the growing political parties. So this could be very interesting. If my candidate, the CJ, is mentioned in the polls, then my political party, I need to know the significant number that we are growing in Simba's political party. So it could be quite interesting to know, the statistics that, that is coming out of this opinion polls. Thank you.
The question I wanted to ask, what if ODM remained united? Without all these fractions, Linda Mwananchi and Linda Ground, what do you think could have happened for the UDA and ODM merger?
If ODM remained united, like taking Baba's supporters being intact,
yes,
and he went into a coalition with Ruto for the election, then I think that by early in the morning they would already call it, they would be able to win. But then you look at it in politics, people are governed by interests, such that even if, like when Baba had the handshake, you get that he did not carry the entire team carry the entire team with him on board, because at the end of the day, people look at their interests. Like when it is sometimes while when you're a presidential candidate, you could have all these people who are able to vote for you.
Yes.
But when you support another party, you may not be able to transfer the entire support 100%. Like there will be some people who are like, at the end of the day, people will look at their interests, like somebody will feeling that, okay, when you're coming on this other side, are you bring us along? Are we associated with you? So with Baba alive, had he been still alive, him supporting Ruto, he would have given Ruto a good, of course not 100%, because some people would have still been disgruntled, but at least he would have given him up, and I think they would be President Ruto would be sleeping well right now.
I want to ask a very, I know this is far-fetched. So someone would say, President William Ruto secures second term, goes up to 2032. You know, one funny thing is at 32%. We're talking about 2032. Coincidence. Kalonzo Musyoka has 13, and Sifuna has 12. Sifuna is there, all right? Kalonzo Musyoka right now is 72 years old.
Yeah.
William Ruto, president, shall have served his second term. What are you seeing for Sifuna? I've just thrown this question to 2032.
Yeah.
I think that
if all factors remain constant.
All factors, 2032, like if they say a day in politics is such a long time, now 5 years in politics is such a long time. I think that for Sifuna, if he continues just being consistent, he has a bright future, he has the energy, he has the intellect, he has age in his advantage because all factors still constant, it still has many active years in his life, because, so like, even for the next over 20 years, he can still play politics energetically. So if he remains consistent, definitely he has a rising star. Unless, let's say, something, he makes mistakes here and there. But if he just keeps the path, his star is rising.
This question was just perhaps is an advice to him. It was to remain constant. I hope he's listening.
He would be 40s and 50s headed there.
Exactly.
Still energetic. Hey man, remember when Raila was at that age? You know, what was really the guy was giving a lot of headache to the incumbent presidents and all. The energy, the intellect, the political wisdom that a young, vibrant, intellectual...
That's around 2002.
Intellectual politician can have, the impact he can have in the person of Sifuna, who has learned from Raila. You can imagine what advantage Sifuna can have for 20, is it 2037 or
2032?
2032 coming could be all his political brightness actually begins probably post 2032. And this is what I'm saying is, you see even his rating, the belief young people has in him, the belief the united opposition have in young, vibrant politician. His stature, his integrity and boldness, just becoming decisive on certain issues. And I think what works for the opposition, and I keep urging the opposition, what works for the opposition is to get a ticket that it's representative for the aspirations of the people of Kenya, Victor. In the opposition, it is not a matter of getting a presidential candidate. It's a matter of getting a Kenyan presidential candidate. Those are two different things.
Yes.
There is the issue of looking at who is probably to win, but there is also the issues of who is probably to govern Kenya.
Okay, all right.
Those are things that should be considered.
It's top of the hour,
8
a.m. Time runs so fast. We take a quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. Now, just to take a quick wrap on this discussion. So, Dan, a quick one, not Dan, Simba. So, the question I want to ask you is, we have the favorite ticket, that is President William Ruto and Professor Kindiki, still at the park, ahead of the park, that is. What of other combination, what would be your combination, your lineup, randomly? Just pick any candidate randomly and put there, your own survey.
Okay, so on one hand,
remember Dan is here, and Dan also has his presidential candidate.
On one hand, we'll most likely have President Ruto and Kindiki. On the other hand, I think that for the opposition, maybe giving it as Kalonzo Sifuna ticket may really excite people. Of course, its success depends on being able to unite the entire, rally the entire opposition behind it, like all the other candidates behind them. If the two, like opposition united, and we have, let's say, Kalonzo Sifuna on the top of the ticket, they can give President Ruto a run for his money.
Kalonzo Sifuna. Or Sifuna, Kalonzo and anybody else?
Kalonzo Sifuna, the other person would excite so much. I think that Kalonzo Sifuna ticket.
That you still tap with that?
Yes.
Okay, Dan?
Well, I see Sifuna Maraga ticket as a very, very strong ticket on integrity and boldness to deal with the issue about corruption and the rule of law. I have been saying that while before even we signed off for the break, I said something probably so profound that Kenyans are excited about the names and the legacy politicians. But at the end of the day, they're asking, if we vote this, how would it look like post-election period?
Yeah.
And I think those are conversations that are beginning to shape up. Not with a lot of respect to the opposition candidates. And I know there's a number of issues coming up to say, you know, because of numbers, I have 7 million, I have these kind of numbers. But in the process, in the mind of unity, in the mind of, you know, giving Kenyans a fresh relief and a fresh candidacy and, you know, a fresh sigh of relief post-election. Yeah. I see these two individuals as a very strong ticket in the rule of law, integrity and fight for corruption to deliver the services for Kenyans.
Yes.
So I think I would still stick with that ticket until then.
Very good.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, we have to wrap it up. But then, a question. Today we have a very interesting match. Let's come back to football a little bit. I want you to give me your predictions. France, Spain.
Yeah.
Simba.
I think France will take it.
France will take it. On regular time or extra time, penalties?
Maybe extra time. Yeah, maybe extra time. It will be a tough one, but France will, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Daniel, you've been following these things from the White
I am conflicted. My Arsenal guys are in both teams, so I am a conflicted follower. That, you know, my Saliba is there, my Merino is in this. So may I say that may the best team proceed?
Pick your battles,
you know. So as a Pan-Africanist and as one who believes that Africans do better, I favor France.
It's like you're saying that Arsenal
but I think most important thing, we also need to congratulate our starlets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was coming to that. I was coming to that. Actually, right now they're having...
It's under 17 or under...
Under 17.
Yeah.
The girls have done very well.
Marvelous.
They have secured their second successive move to the under 17 World Cup, Women World Cup, to be held in Morocco. And right now, there is that function happening in the State House. The president with the girls for some breakfast, which is very good. Very motivational. I hope they also work with a reward. Yes. Let's give the credit where it's due. Our president has done so well to encourage the sportsmen and women that when you put our country on the map, then you get a reward for being patriotic. Okay. Yeah. So they beat South Africa 5-1 on aggregate in the finals. That made them to seal their second successive move to FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup. And I think if the Kenyan football would be performing like this, I believe Kenya would be somewhere. But we wish them all the best. Director, are we ready to move to the breakfast meeting at State House? All right. So my colleague Dismas Sotuke is the reporter in State House, and let's just cross over and see what's happened. But before then, I have to thank Kiomolo Simba, who is an advocate of the High Court and also political analyst. Asante sana. Daniel Orogo is also a political analyst and governance expert, and also MP aspirant. Straight to State House.